weird. I guess that YouTube keeps pushing out all these different random updates.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're live now. Like it was like, oh, this is the preview of us being
Did you see
live.
like the
Thanks,
new
YouTube.
little uploader box? Like I
Yeah.
hadn't uploaded a video in like a week and a half or something,
Oh,
and then I went
it's
to upload one the other day, and I was like,
And as soon as you learn the new box, like it completely changes. Like it's
yeah,
like,
it's
oh, I
getting
got it.
better,
It's
but the
getting better.
first iteration of it was garbage. Like the day one, I was like, I'll try it. It says beta. And
Yeah.
then for like weeks, I was like, no, don't touch it.
Can
Stay
either of you make
away.
sure that we're actually live? Because I saw some
I already
chat
had.
and I saw concurrent viewers drop dramatically. So it's like, who knows what YouTube's doing? Hey, good
Concurrent viewers
riddance.
is just all over the map. It's just spiking. Like it's changing for me constantly.
Okay, cool,
Okay,
cool.
there we go.
Hey,
I just wanted
everybody,
to
can
make
y'all
sure
hear
that
us
all the
okay?
things all add up for you guys. So,
All right. I think either Chris, if you wouldn't mind tweeting it out. I'm just waiting. 'Cause I'm waiting for somebody to be like, and
Yeah.
they can
I
hear
know
us.
I should tweet it out too.
So Lowest
I
Raptor
have
says,
not
I'm
been on Twitter
curious what they'll reveal. And hello, work to game. Hey, hey. It looks like Soro, Chris, Brian. Good. All right. It looks like chat is somewhat responding to us being live. This is great. Hey, Fetch. So as far as it goes, like if we were going to just hear new predictions, they're playing Mahjong right now, everybody. Just and the link is also in the description. I know I could almost put money on that someone's going to come in and be like, I don't want to listen to you. I want to watch the stream. And so in the description, there's a link. You can go watch the stream directly without all three of our pretty faces, and go
But why would
enjoy.
you want to? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, and it's one time. To be fair to be fair to the critique, one time the Twitch stream went down, and there was a rush to YouTube, and for whatever reason, we were the one that came up for Google searching, as opposed to the official stream. So we saw like our concurrent numbers just jump up to a number we've never seen before, and I'm like, all of a
This is
sudden it's like this is
fantastic.
weird.
Everybody
Like I
wants
was
to hang out
here
with
I am
us.
talking to like 600 people, and now here I am talking to 6,000 people. All right, like I'm very cautious about the words that are coming out of my mouth. The so as soon as they go into the just a kind of a show notes, we'll be using the unofficial translation brought to you by Reddit. We're going to be commenting and talking about the stream itself and more. So we will be talking over. We'll be also engaging with chat as it goes. This is kind of the how we run things here. But if anybody comes in and to chat, which probably depending on the number watching, once it gets over a certain threshold in YouTube, like there are, I think, trolls that like to go and find certain numbers. Just welcome and love the trolls as they come in, and our moderators will help kind of manage whatever they say. So I guess the general question is, Chris and like, do y'all like? I would say I think Chris and I have a good idea of what we're gonna get. Xandri, do you know what do you have an idea of what we're gonna see with 5.2?
Honestly, one of the only things that I thought we were going to get was an update on Eden. When the next couple of bosses were going to come out, what exactly part of the story that might be. I also heard that they were probably going to be buffing some classes. I'm really hoping that Bard is one of them because Bard is like the worst right now. It's so bad. Everybody was picking on me about the class I chose, and like for the last little hot fixes that they did for tweaking all of the jobs, people were like, obviously if you read it thoroughly enough, everything that looks like it's a nerf is actually a buff because of the like what they did with like Apex Arrow and the dots, and actually changing it so that your songs affected the whole party to make it so that they would actually want to bring bards in. And they're like, no, it's actually a buff. And I'm like, well, then why am I on the bottom of the, not me personally, but why are bards on the bottom of the DPS charts? So I'm really hoping for something like that. And I want to know where I can get these plushies. They were showing plushies earlier.
Yes.
Oh my
So the
God, I
easiest
want a
way, the
plushie.
easiest and cheapest way, well, I mean cheapest, is out at the different fan fests. So like if you were able to make it to Vegas this year, they'll
I
have all
want
the
to
merch and you get it, and you don't have to worry about shipping and all that. But you're shipping yourself in a way. So I mean, like you're not really coming out at like ahead. But if you're going to be there, you might as well make sure that you know what merch you want. In that
right.
regards, but then I think
All of
essentially
it.
they opened it up on the Square Enix store. I got Julie the Goobu that's behind me with Chuck. And then we do have the Moogle postman, and so like we like to get him. I want to get her a fat cat next. I think that is an amazing plush.
That's
mini.
adorable.
Yeah, they do such a good job.
But people, like everyone was trying to explain the way that they stagger the content to me. So they were saying that it would be like 5.0 would probably be, or I'm sorry, 5.2 would probably be mainly Eden stuff to begin with, and then like the next like smaller patch we would get more of like the copied factory. And I'm not even sure if we actually would get more MSQ to begin with.
Oh yeah.
Like we had to wait a little bit.
For anybody who doesn't know, just like like as you fill this out, every main patch numbered, not the 0.5s, but the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. That's going to be something that continues the story. Unless they go in a whole different route, by the end of 0.3, that should technically wrap up the Shadowbringer story. 0.4, 0.5 ends up setting up whatever the next expansion is. Technically, Shadowbringer started in 0.4 of Stormblood, and it runs to obviously till 0.4 of Shadowbringers in that regard. So that's how it's traditionally been. With this patch, we should get 2 dungeons. We'll get the raid. I don't know if they're going to show us the bosses. Like when it comes down to the fact that we have like Leviathan and Titan already, that gives me the idea that we're going to see like Ramu, Shiva, Ifrit, and why am I drawing a blank on the other one? Gruda. And I think that's going to be, we're going to get 2 of those each of the Eden fights. I just don't know what order. And so there's kind of a mystery and an excitement there. So who knows if they'll show us that. But we know we're going to get Eden. They'll have a map update. They'll have some kind of updates for like the different maps, expanding on features within. We know Crafting and Gathering Part 2 is
There's
coming.
supposed to be a new dungeon too, right?
Yeah, we get 2. We get 2 dungeons.
Oh, 2.
So the odd numbers, we get 1 dungeon, and an ultimate. Evens, we get 2. And we should, if they don't talk about your relic, I'm just gonna be curious, right? I'm just kind of curious as to like what is happening with relic. So I'm wondering if we'll hear about whatever the expiration is, the diadem is, and more. Now, obviously, this is going to be more the high level stuff. They're not going to go and show us in-game stuff. They might show us some screenshots tonight. And then the second part is going to be the Soken interview. So I was telling Chris.
That is so cool. Like, it's so cool that he's actually going to do that. Like, actually have a Q&A. That's just so cool.
Yeah, it was... Questions were submitted on the forums. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just watching stuff from doing stuff with the primals too, and I was just like, this is absolutely fantastic. Like, everybody is just so talented. I can't even.
So right now Yoshi P is on screen, so I'm going to toss this into kind of our view for how it's going to look. And there's a big chicken bird man angel with black wings. This is ridiculous. Hopefully you guys are seeing this too. Oh my goodness. I'll turn up the volume a little bit, but this is going to be in Japanese. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. It looks like this should be what the live letter is kicking off. Again, we've got the Reddit translation, which will be technically the unofficial, but there will be some good stuff going on. So now they're saying introduction from the quote-unquote light warden, Foxclon. Yoshida couldn't get over Foxclon's get up.
I just can't take my eyes off the plushies. This is just I'm so excited. This is my first live letter that I'll be watching. So like this is it for me. I have everything up. I have like so many tabs up to try to get like different people's points of view in the Reddit and my Discord, and it's just
yeah, it's like that's where it's like multiple monitors is key.
He's supposed to be a sin eater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's a light warden.
I just ate delicious meal.
Of mole.
Is it mole? I've been pronouncing it meal this whole time. And honestly, when I found out what it was in game, it was one of the worst things ever. I felt so bad. I was like, we helped people get into Yule more.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so gross. A plush Harshafont, please, Andrew says. So they're saying this will be part 1 of the patch 5.2 featurette. Yoshi P is still laughing from Foxclon's Get Up. And they're going to have Soken join us in the second part of this one. So part 2 of... so we'll cover like in-game showing off. I wonder what kind of trial we're gonna get though. I wonder as far as that goes, because typically we'll get a trial in an extreme. So I wonder if that's gonna be story driven.
I'm actually one of the things that I was really, really hoping and looking forward to, because it's my favorite dungeon, even though people don't like it because you don't get the extra stat stuff, is Amarat. And I was hoping for like an Amarat hard mode. Like, I don't know how that would actually work, but that would be fantastic. Everything that's going on in the background, and it's just, it's my favorite. And every time I do roulette, I'm like, I want to get this so bad.
That would be kind of like a twist on how they've kind of done those kind of things. And so yeah, that would be really, really cool to see them kind of say, oh yeah, because those are story driven, and because of the trust system, I'm wondering if the 2 dungeons we get are also story driven. So Sora's asking.
The nice thing about story driven is that it means that we get like that's what guarantees that trust. So like we don't have to worry about the support there. We don't have to worry about whether or not people have leveled up their trust system. So it is a nice confirmation.
Yeah. So I think the stories are going to be driven. I think the dungeons will be story driven for that. Let's see here. We have a question. How much is a ticket for FanFest usually from Sora? Chris, do you remember how much the tickets
I want to say they were like 150, 100.
Wasn't horrible. Like the real cost comes into the flight and the hotel.
The hotel and the flight were much more. I want to say it was within $20 or $30 of the price of BlizzCon. So I think they were both around that like $150 price point.
When do the tickets usually go on sale? Like with respect to that, once you actually find out what the
tickets tend to go on sale like sometime around May or June, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be that way this time either. But there's also an active subscription, so people who have that who are actively subscribed get a kind of priority access, and they went fast last time. I didn't actually get a ticket. Chris got our tickets. So it's like, it was just, and of course then it's like, oh, y'all were like, you'll get streamer. Like, no. Like we went in and got tickets just like everybody else out there.
We bought there was a chance that we weren't going.
Privilege?
No, we don't. Like, it's just like, but as far as it goes,
we did for the media tour. So like maybe that's changed, but as of last FanFest, we did not.
The thing though is that I would say even if you really want to go and you don't get a ticket, you should go anyway. You can still.
It was really cool just to be there.
Yeah, it's just cool to be there. It is Vegas. Lots of going on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we paid our whole way to our media tour too.
Yeah.
They bought lunch. And I got an alarm clock.
Yeah. Oh, and Maddie and the girls love the alarm clock. Yeah, they sell it pretty. They sell it pretty quick. If you guys are also aware, like at PAX East, there's going to be an official Final Fantasy XI fan gathering, which would be pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
I wish I could go. I was like, man, that sounds awesome.
Oh, you have to. Come on, I'm going to be there.
You're going to be at PAX East?
Yeah, finally, it's going to be my first actual expo that I'm going to.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I was trying to get everybody to go, and they're like, do you have tickets? And I'm like, the only tickets I could get are Sunday tickets. But I know that people in Discord purchased extra Saturday tickets, so I'm relying on them to be able to purchase one off of them. So hopefully. I mean, I'm going to be there no matter what. But.
Yeah. Now, as far as when the dates are...
On speed dial. We don't speak Japanese.
Yeah, I know. We do make him laugh. He does understand English. Like, Chris and I were just like...
Yeah,
gushing.
he's just not comfortable speaking it.
Right.
So, like, when we're talking to each other, like, you can see him listening and laughing. But then when he responds, it comes through the translator. Do I think we're getting updates on Ishgard Reconstruction? Yes. I think there will be something with every major content patch for the foreseeable future.
I love
You guys think it'll end in 5.4 or 5.5?
The story?
The Reconstruction.
Oh, 5.5. I think that Reconstruction...
Where do you put housing then?
You put housing
during 5.5? You put housing, yeah, at that time.
In the dead space?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's all I want is Ishgard housing, which is funny because I just got a really nice area in the Goblet It's my first house that I bought. It's a small house, and it's right like in the center where the market board is and the retainers bell and everything. And it has like that all the waterfalls and the pools right there. And I was so excited about it. And then people were like, Ishgard housing though, and I was like, oh yeah, I have to save up.
We got a good question here. Concordia asks, what news has dropped so far? Floxclon is dressed up as a Sin Eater, and Yoshi P has a shirt that has Scotch on it, and that's literally what they've been talking about while we had all been talking about FanFest.
Oh, he's supposed to be
Brewmaster confirmed.
Over 18 million adventurers worldwide confirmed. So we have gone from 16 million to 18 million. Congrats, everybody! We did it.
I think they made a joke earlier that they wanted it to get up to 80 million. And the CEO made a joke, and Yoshi P was like, his face was absolutely hilarious.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us.
Look at us.
I wonder what, by the same definition, so is that just like registered accounts, like even for trials?
Typically,
like
when
trials?
they talk about the users, they do not include trials. However, I don't know if they have changed their policy on that. And well, thank you for.
So that's the number of accounts that have ever paid 1 month.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay.
Called it Brewmaster. Brewmaster would. Yeah. Evan says Brewmaster would kick ass. I agree.
As a new crafting class to finish out to go with alchemy and culinarian, or like Brewmaster Monk from WoW, where it's the new tank.
Absolutely.
Maybe both.
Maybe.
A tanking crafter.
But if you were gonna have a tank and crafter, then people could finally get their chemist healer, and then we could have alchemist and chemist.
Brewmaster could work in the limited system too. You could have the not limited, not limited.
Look at us.
Imagine if crafters were able to act as limited battle classes.
Oh, we got 2 new subscribers. Welcome to the workforce. Can we get some hearts in chat, welcoming our new users?
I really can't wait to see what the Ishgard housing.
Did you end up giving away that mount?
No, we're still working to get the mount, but it's still locked behind the member drive. So how we've been doing our giveaways. So we got the Finware bike mount to give away, and if we hit our goal of 10 members, then we will give that away, and everybody's eligible. And the fun thing is that it just like membership's just $1. So if you guys are thinking about, we'll give it away here. If we hit a goal, this would be perfect. It's the join button on YouTube.
Oh, I'm gonna do it too.
Oh, well, no pressure. But thank you very much.
Cats ruined my Christmas tree.
Look at us. Hey,
We got a new subscriber.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Huh?
Look
Who
at
would've
us.
thought?
So I've
Not me.
got Paul Rudd with his "Look at Us" meme from Hot Ones. So every time somebody subscribes, that's what it says now. I love it.
I just finally started his show on Netflix.
Oh my
I'm only halfway
gosh.
through the first episode, and I've been telling Claire we need to watch it for like 2 months, and then I finally just got tired and said,
Just
"That's
watch
it. I'm
yeah.
watching it."
It's so good.
Yay!
Yes.
So far, I'm not anywhere. I don't have any information that wasn't in the trailer, so they're just expanding on that. But I'm looking forward to it.
And now we have Keanu Reeves saying,
Oh my gosh,
Whoa,
Andrew and Chili.
that's 3. So we just if we do it, guys, bike mount. All right, so they're still commenting
And
on the
Zell.
18 million. Whoa, 4. Okay.
How many did we need? I felt like
No,
we were
this is,
close.
I just said like a 10 member drive. Do a roller giveaway.
But how close were we to the bike?
That would be, I see 4, so that would be 6 to go on that.
Okay.
On that regards. All right, we actually have news.
Didn't know if we had to roll over.
They're removing the weekly restrictions from Eden Gate. Oh, that's coming in 5.18, so that'll be 4.52. Deep Shadow solvent will be purchasable using manufactured coins. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Look at us. Hey,
I actually
Look at
just
us.
bought
Look at
like
us.
a
Huh?
ton
Who
of
would've
that
thought?
for when I
Not
have my
me.
Gunbreaker all set. I had no idea what it was, and everybody was just like, "You have to buy all this solvent," and I was like, "Okay." And then I spent like everything I had on it, and then I was like, "What do I do with it?" And they're like, "Well, when your Gunbreaker gets 80," and I'm like, "I can't even do anything now."
That's funny. You have to get it. You have to get it.
Yeah, they're like, spend everything on this. And I was like,
Everything.
all right,
Don't
that's
wait.
fantastic. And I'm not going to lie, my my gun
Season
is only
14 of the
17.
Feast. It is a great time to be doing PvP, guys. When anytime there's something new around the feast, like new feast season or the new PvP mode, if you want PvP in this game, if you like PvP, these are the times to enjoy it, because as interest dies off, it'll go back to being those like 30 and 40-minute queues. So between now and the end of the year is a great time to go in and knock out those like 100 wins of a particular game type, especially the new game type, because there's like a mount tied behind that, getting 100 wins in a game type. So knock it out.
Did they actually release what the glamour is going to look like for season 14 yet?
I'm sure it's somewhere. I have no idea. Keek, thank you.
Yay!
Number 5.
I was so excited just to finish out actually getting some of the Garo gear that I wanted. So that was pretty big.
You say alts get ready for the next raid. It still blows my mind that people play this game with dedicated alts.
Yeah.
I could see raising one up for like a particular purpose, like to get to having more retainers without paying, or to like, you know, I could see having very specific things like that, but to have like a full-blown raid alt just blows my mind. You don't buy the solvent from the Savage Raid, or it's a drop from the Savage Raid, so now it'll be purchasable with manufactured coins.
There was something that you actually had to purchase where you could like change the gear that you'd already gotten so that you could have it on a different job.
Okay.
That's the stuff that I was talking about. I thought it was solvent, but
we do need a counter.
I can't think of the actual.
I should tell Brian to put that in the template. I think he has one. I just don't know if he has one in the 3-person template.
I'm back.
You don't have a counter on this template, do you? For the fact that we are not 5 members?
It shows up in the top bar. Now in a typical stream, I've got the little goal bar, but
yeah.
Hi. All right, what did I miss?
5 or 6 maxed out. Season 14 of the Feast.
Yep.
Coming.
Great.
Christmas Eve.
I wish that was throughout all of PvP. I wish all of PvP had a season.
Yeah. It could.
I don't know.
Ninja nerf incoming. No, they've been so vocal about like wanting to buff everybody up. I mean, it's possible, but there have been so few nerfs, and nerfs have been so minor relative to how many things have gotten buffs the last several patches. He looks like one of those like he looks like he's trying to be like a wrestler, like a really cheap dressed wrestler.
Yeah.
They're talking about the 2B bottoms now, guys. People were saying that it nerfed the way the booty looked. People were very upset about it because they were like, if we're not going to have a butt slider, we're going to have the 2B leggings actually make it look like you have a booty. So that's what they're supposed to be talking about right now.
He knows that the booty enhancements have been nerfed. He heard Reddit.
They did nerf it. They did nerf it.
How much do you have to talk about a butt slider on Reddit for the 2B equipment to come up and then be like, we know what you care about?
We're at 6, guys.
The likes on that in the live translation is like spiking.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's so fantastic.
Grand Company
Ninja will be adjusted. You are indeed correct, whoever called that. Michelle Trejo.
Thank you, Michelle.
Member number 6. We are going to get...
Somebody might be getting a mount tonight because these things run long. We might have to give away multiple things. We'll see. We'll just keep going.
Oh, that's so sweet. We couldn't
kicked off his end.
So we wanted to provide this gear to at least answer what players want, but then we decided that the polygon was too big, so we had to make it smaller. That is so great.
No, they said he does not intend to nerf it, actually. Are they talking about the equipment, or are they talking about Ninja?
That's the hard part. I don't know if it's Ninja or if it's the butt.
What would you guys prefer to be nerfed? Now that he's saying he's not going to nerf something, he's either not nerfing
I
the
think
2B.
he's talking about not nerfing the stats, but he was nerfing the way that they looked.
Okay.
Yeah, I do
Saying
think
that there was something
people do
wrong
like the
with the
booty.
shape.
Chris specifically rolled a female because he's like, if I want to look at like a character's butt, like for like hundreds of
I
hours,
just roll
look at
whichever
this.
has the better model.
Look at us. Look at us.
That,
So like in
uh,
WoW I play
Not
male,
me.
and in 14 I play female. Because
We
the
had, like,
female
the-
cat does look better.
The white mage legs with that skirt where it's literally like the skirt like ends at the top of the booty and it's just like underwear. That's one of my glamours on my white mage. It's fantastic. I think it's like literally the level 50 part of the white mage gear.
Can we get some hearts in chat for all of our new members? And also, guys, enjoy your emotes. You have some specific emotes. In fact, we need to actually, I think, get some new emotes so that people can enjoy them over here on YouTube.
We can ask our... We have some possible new merch incoming, so we'll put that on the list to be redesigned.
It's like,
Oh, okay.
I'm excited because I gave my Work to Game shirt away to She Heals I Tank, who I
Nice.
believe is
Yeah.
one of our first guests of next year.
yep.
And they gave me one of their shirts as a trade.
We even have Zen coming back on the podcast next year. Got that on the
But
schedule.
that means I want another. I mean, I already have multiple Work to Game shirts, but I want at least one to replace that one.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for the hearts. Love it.
Is there a live version online? Yeah, so the Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel, which the link should be in the description below.
Yeah, just check the description and you can go watch it.
So,
without
especially if you understand Japanese and our English speaking over the top of the Japanese is distracting.
because I can
I
turn
think if
down
you
the
speak
Japanese
when he
talk.
speaks English, we don't talk nearly as much. So when they have a translator, we're a whole lot quieter.
Okay. They were saying that they released the gear and they didn't realize that it had actually hit like a red flag, which meant that there was a bug because they like shaped the bottoms too weirdly. So the bottoms actually stuck out from underneath the coat. So that wasn't intentional to begin with. It was a bug.
Yeah, I do want to get a Work to Game beanie specifically, guys.
We're working on it. We're working on it. At least a hat. I know that we can do hats. I don't know whether or not we can do beanies
You
yet.
need to find a way.
We're working on it.
A beanie would be fantastic. I would totally wear like one of those old school trucker hats too, off to the side.
Oh, nice.
Cody, we could consider giving away shirts. We're working on a redesign, so it'll be a whole new merch line. Mostly because I want a whole new set of shirts. But
Yeah.
if you guys want them, they'll be available. But either way, I want them.
But yes, you guys were right. Not the solvent. I had to double check with Discord because I literally just bought what they told me to buy. I've also thrown away important things because they told me to throw it away too. So I accidentally threw away a Gendawa before I had a new weapon, just saying.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was bad.
I have a hard time letting things go. Like, it's I don't know. I'm not much of a collector, but I'm a collector of digital things. So I've always been
Ruby's
up against my.
asking
Go ahead.
about 14 possibly getting a single player story. I heard that they were talking about doing spin-offs, but that it's not like confirmed. I don't know if you guys heard anything, but they were saying it would be cool to do like a spin-off with something like that instead of doing an FF16 so recently. And I think Yoshi P said that he liked the idea,
Oh,
but
we got the name.
he and his team could work on it because
Echoes
they had
of a Fallen Star is the name of the patch, guys.
Ooh.
Yes.
5.2. And they're saying PvP actions are going to be adjusted too.
Yeah, they added some back with the last patch. That's beautiful. I love that name.
Let's see the patch art. They're not going to show it?
No, I think it could be a spoiler.
What's
Oh,
really
come on.
fantastic is they're literally releasing the name, and then Yoshi P is literally like, doesn't it sound like it has a lot of meaning? But then not explaining the meaning behind it yet. It's just such a teaser.
So they're saying Echoes is related to the Echo.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be fun. I really want to know
So I
what
wonder
that's
if
about.
it's going to have a lot more with Xenos then, because he has that fake echo. So I wonder if it'll go more into...
Mid-February.
Mm-hmm. That feels
Great
about
news.
right. That feels about right. Because I was thinking like,
Yeah.
it would be real tight. Like it'd be like end of January. It'd be like, wow, that was quick. And so early February, early to mid Feb feels about right. So mid February sounds great.
They're done with the
love
things they want to
mid-Feb patch.
implement for this year, so all of them are adjustments from there on.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're gonna have new MSQ. Of course, like that's this first slide is just I don't know if they just replaced the background, like it's just it's the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird too, like...
Those look like development screenshots.
Is he alive? Is he alive?
Like, I don't know what the rules are. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is he alive? I wasn't sure, like, what our rules are with what... I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you know, like, some spoilers. But I was like, is he alive? Is it...
Wait.
They said it's... They said... Well...
New instance dungeon. That's not plural.
It's
Anonymous
Albert, but...
Niter. Yep, trust system means it's story based.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that they even called him Derplander 2.
Yeah.
That's fantastic! I had no idea.
Let's own that and
Trust
go back
is-
to the source.
Trust system compatible.
Ooh.
Do you think they're going to go back and make the non-story dungeons trust system
I think if they
compatible
do,
as
you
they
know,
go to
that's-
expand it to other?
I think if
I mean-
they do, that's going to continue to beat the drum that there is going to be kind of a second chapter or something they're going to move us to, and that's going to help keep this game playable.
Whoa! Moving forward,
Yeah.
one dungeon added with every patch.
Oh,
wow.
I don't know how to feel about this.
That's
That
a
is
big
so much
change.
content. Oh man.
What are we getting as a replacement?
So when they moved to the every other, the goal was to give us better dungeons. But in my mind, I don't feel that they did give us better dungeons. So I either wanted them to move back to doing us every patch. I mean, I've liked them, but I don't feel they're like groundbreaking. So does this mean we'll never get a groundbreaking dungeon again?
Unless maybe they're saving those like ones that are supposed to be groundbreaking for the actual like...
They're saying they want to invest the cost of
5.2.
implementing another dungeon and other aspects. And so, if that is true, and they're
Only one
bringing the trusts to the older dungeons, or they're bringing in leaderboards and time trial, like if they're going to go and take the massive amount of awesome dungeons, because we have some of the best dungeons, I think, but there's no reason to go back and do them. If they were to say like, hey, we're going to do this, and now we're going to make, you know, the massive amount of content that we have that you don't play viable now, like that would be an amazing trade-off. That would be a trade-off that says, hey, by the way, I don't need 1,000 dungeons in this RPG. I just need 100 of the best dungeons, and that you can always go and enjoy them.
So when they pulled back last time, do you think that's what gave them the ability to give us Eureka? Because I feel like they pulled back on something last expansion.
They said it was that for Ultimate. The new tribe quest, the Qatari, focusing on gathering. Oh man, we're 3 members away from doing a Mount Royal.
Oh, snap.
Ruby, thank you.
It's only going to be a gatherer beast tribe.
Yeah.
Only gathering, which is interesting because I guess the crafting is the.
I mean, you've got the restoration thing. Like the gatherers are very much like onlookers. In the way restoration functions currently.
Who's the one guy you would sleep with? John Stamos. What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go
All
do
my
karate
gatherers
in
are
the garage?
capped.
Yup.
I mean, mine aren't.
Good lord, the
Fishing is so good. Fishing is so good. So maybe dungeons will be more interactive. Maybe. Like, if this is what it takes to give us better dungeons.
If they're more
It's not that they've been
interactive,
bad dungeons. I've loved the dungeons, but I don't feel they're groundbreaking.
Okay. So Wayne, the Qatari are gonna be like Kickern.
Oh, fun. I like them. I like them as a race. New Chronicles of an Era quest. This is Eureka. They're talking about Eureka right now, or Eureka 2. I wish they would say, okay, one less dungeon, and we're doing this. Not just investing in that, because that's so vague. Like, it'd be nice to say, like, oh, and we're going to work on this for patch 5.4. You know, it's like, oh, man, thank you. Like, I want that. But we don't know.
I'll agree Grand Cosmos was visually phenomenal, but this entire expansion's been visually phenomenal. So I think I wouldn't have expected any less. And maybe I just feel that the dungeons are really straightforward because they've made tanking so straightforward.
And maybe it's just
that could be a big factor on my viewpoint, because that's what I've been doing this expansion is I've been tanking.
Ooh, pretty.
As opposed to past
They're
expansions
showing off
where
more
I've mixed
screenshots
tanking and
regarding
Black
Eureka
Mage.
than I thought they would.
Black Mage.
Yeah.
I'm not upset, Cody. I'm just saying that everything they're saying here, without saying why and really what the trade-off is, makes me automatically assume the 2016 project is the primo project. It's where they're actually spending their resources on. And I'm not gonna. That's probably not a bad move. But the question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Finish. But then that begs the question to me, with New Game Plus, with all of this, is that, like, are they going to blow our minds in 6.0, or is 6.0 actually Final Fantasy XIV 2? It's like, and here we go. I don't know.
So, what if they're? I mean, I'm bummed that limited jobs don't stay with our level cap, because I would love to see dungeons start to have like another portion to them that's like
only
optional,
accessible.
like there isn't a that's meant for limited jobs. So like if you're gonna make dungeons this deeper experience where when I play them back, or like build them in a way where when we get like a hard mode, it's drastically different, and so you're designing with that in mind, and that takes additional resources.
I don't know. Like 8-man dungeon. Like, I love 8-man stuff. I don't know. The Ruby Weapon Extreme. Nice.
So they're saying that it's going to have something to do with Estinian. Something about the former Azir Dragoon who isn't employed at the moment. Maybe he'll be there.
2 trials, though. 2 trials. Like, oh, we got 1 dungeon, but we got 2 trials? Okay, that's like, I'm cool with that. I like the trials, especially if we get like the Ruby Weapon, and then there's
it'll only be revealed in the patch notes.
If you were a chick, who's the one guy you would sleep with? John Stamos.
I understand where you're coming from, though. Like, you just want to see exactly where they're spending all of their manpower. I get it. Makes sense.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Zen?
ADS, is that number?
I was saying that I understand where you're coming from, though. Like, you just want to see where they're spending all of their manpower. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, what they're actually focusing on.
And I don't need them to reveal, like, the whole kit and caboodle in that regards. It just feels like, hey, guys, I know I promised that I was going to deliver pizza to your house every Friday. And then I say, hey, this Friday it's going to just be a salad. And you're like, well, I was really looking for pizza. And I go, trust me, like, there's something coming. You're like, okay. And I do trust the team. I do trust that they're working on something interesting. I just think it'd be kind of neat to know, like, okay, next Friday you're gonna see that. Like, I don't know. I'm being selfish.
I think it's gonna be Ramu for the next.
Yeah,
meeting.
You think?
Yeah.
He said Ramu in the live translation already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ramu.
I was like, yeah.
Mine's a little behind.
With a question mark, but like the question mark's always like,
Ramu.
maybe we'll have housing. Like, don't throw that out there.
Freaking.
So it will involve the Warrior of Light's imagination. What comes to your mind when Ramu is involved? Maybe there will be orbs. Who knows?
So we are at 8. So if we get 2 more, we'll do a roll. Anybody who wants to be eligible, if we hit that, just be sure to be chatting in chat. The system right now is registering everybody who's chatting, and we'll go from there. Also, be sure to hit that like button on the stream. That will help us out a whole bunch.
Are you did you already get the code, or
I already have the code.
so is it only good on North American?
I don't know if the mount codes only work for North America.
Okay.
I don't know how the code's like. Here's a code.
Okay. I've been in streams where they give away things that are bound by data center, so I don't know if the mounts are like that.
The sexy beard primal. That would be funny if it was just a giant beard. That would be hilarious.
It's just the beard.
Just the beard.
Couldn't it be like the beard with the staff next to it?
Soro
like-
upgraded membership to level 10. What does that mean?
It means I think I don't know if he was a level 1 or level 2, or it's level 5, level 1, 5, 10, 50, and 99. So we have lots of tiers. Lots of tiers. Thank you, Soro, for that upgrade.
Mount codes are universal? Okay.
It's like they better as be. It's like that would suck so bad.
What's coming? New upgradable.
But it's also everybody's eligible. Like anybody who's chatting is eligible. The kickoff begins based off of that.
They said the name is secret because it's undergoing adjustments. It's not necessarily spoiler. Might be spoiler.
The relic,
They're not
perhaps?
sure.
I wonder if it'd be called like Dynamis or something to kind of tie it into Final Fantasy XI a little bit.
A story focused around Bostra's Citadel, home of the Hrothgar.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so they're talking about the
Yeah.
relic.
Look at us.
Thankfully, they're talking about the relic.
Do we get
Look
to
at us.
see
Huh?
some
Who would've
female
thought?
Roth?
Not me.
That'd be neat.
Because
I
the
mean-
thing is, like creating a character creation, right, where you have 25,000 possibilities and sliders on all of it, is a lot of work. And creating that so that every piece of gear in the entire game can be equipped to it is a lot of work. But creating 6 NPCs that are fixed, that have their gear assigned to them, is much less work.
Look
So
at
they're
us.
mentioning Red
Hey,
Mage,
Look at
FYI.
us. Look at us. Huh? Who
So
would have
most
thought?
likely it's going to
Not
be
me.
buff.
Where's my bard buffs?
Now they're talking about PvP.
But part 2 will have
updates.
more news. And for those of you that are newer to the game, part 2, so part 1 is more like the big picture, and part 2 is when they pick out individual things. So it's a lot more of where you get like specific class adjustments, details, like where we get details on like when restoration was new. Part 1 was very vague. Part 2 is where they explained a lot. Same with Blue Mage. So it's where they have a chance to dive in and show us, like they'll actually take us in the game and run around on whatever a new class is or anything like that.
Thank you, Leon. 1 away with a level 5 membership. Thank you so much. Thundercats confirmed.
I think they were also saying that Relic and Eureka were going to be a little bit more separated than they normally are.
Yeah,
Which I heard
wonder,
was kind of nice for people because they were saying that they didn't really like having to do Eureka for their Relic weapon.
Okay, so right now they're just going over the concept behind Ishgard, because I think they're constantly trying to remind everybody of the vision, because sometimes we tend to set our expectations over here and they're like, that was never in the plan.
5.2, baby. 5.2 is going to
So
bring the
it was meant to be
high-end.
both enjoyed by veteran and crafters. Remember, they sent us out that letter that said, yes, part 1 is geared at the beginners when they did the change where they removed the world visit.
Mhm.
He had that line that kind of referenced that.
That is
and then
9,
content-
Zoro. Sorry, go ahead.
Introduced in patch 5.11 was designed to introduce players to crafting and gathering with incentives to participate. High-end content is planned to be introduced in patch 5.2 and later, which they've said before. There's not new information, but just a reminder, because I think they're getting a lot of complaints from high-end crafters because the current system feels gutted if you've already been taking part in it. Gutted is
wonder
my word,
If
not Yoshi's.
I wonder if they're going to up the amount of people that can actually be within the restoration area for the fate. Because I know that was kind of an issue for people because everybody gathers like early and then people get locked out. So I
Yeah.
wonder if they're going to
Karu.
That's 10.
That's 10.
That's 10.
Oh, snap.
All right, let's see here. Let's see who's eligible. We've got 46 people eligible right now. To become eligible, 47. You just need to type in chat. You've had to type in the last 10 minutes.
47 out of 370.
Yeah, 47 out of 370. So if you want to have a chance of winning this bike mount,
You want to go
put
do
something
karate
in
the
chat
garage?
right
Yup.
now. We'll do this giveaway here in 30 seconds.
The chat delay is however long that is.
A minute. We'll do it in a minute so that It's only a 15-second delay, but I want people, whoever's here, just say hi.
Blow that chat up.
We're only at 48 eligible, 50 eligible now. So I'm looking at a wide range. Like, get in on this roll.
Oh, nice. It's actually cool that they're opening up the tokens to gatherers, though.
Changes to diadem.
I love Diadem. I love that zone. We got
So
60.
it's being redesigned entirely as Gatherer exclusive content. You'll be able to enter directly as a Disciple of Land from level 10 and above, which means like that's even lower than the threshold for crafters to get involved in Ishgard.
Yeah.
And cerulean tanks will not be required.
Oh, none of the enemies are even going to aggro you? Really?
It's just Gather. Well, remember, you have like basically perfect stealth now. Well, you have mounted stealth for levels up to 4 higher than you.
But it's just kind of funny that you have the ability to make it so that you can stealth, but they're making it so that nothing aggroes you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The gathered items will be used in the Restoration of Ishgard, and you will earn Sky Builder's scripts from doing it. No more enemies. It's also cycle-based gathering order now, jumping from island to island. That's what that rotation's showing us. And you'll be able to level up your Disciple of Land jobs inside. So,
all right. So we were at
now,
107
now DOL,
eligible.
does that just mean mining and... Because right now, fishing is not involved in Restoration.
Right. Right now, no fishers.
Oh, okay. So they're putting it into story. They're saying that the Warriors of Light killed everything. Anyway, so that's why they wouldn't aggro.
Not me.
Let's see here. All right. And
Thank you, Jade.
we're at 111 out of, it looks like 380 watching.
Called Aetherimatic Auger.
All right.
What? So is this our Eureka bar? Am I gonna have like aspects or something? You'll charge a gauge. Am I like gathering limit breaking?
That'd be cool. All right, we're at 111. I'm gonna give you guys
use it on creatures to
another 30
obtain
seconds,
additional
then I'm gonna
items.
Hit roll.
Some of the things they say, I'm not
And
exactly
be sure to
sure.
hit that like button on the stream, everybody.
They said something about using a rocket launcher to go from area to area, and I'm like, is that serious? I mean, one of them is.
I've always enjoyed the way they've jumped us from like platform
No,
to
I know.
platform in various dungeons and stuff. They don't just do the same thing. It's like, no, we'll change it up just enough.
All right, you guys ready to give away this mount?
Yeah.
All right, 10.
Let's do it.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rigged. No, I'm just kidding.
Julian, well, congratulations.
Woo!
Should say it in chat as well.
Next, expert recipes. New collectible items will be added and can be used to earn even greater rewards.
Let's get some
Cool.
love in for Julian.
This is our experts. This is the stuff for all the advanced crafters, the ones who wanted a real challenge. Maybe you already had all your crafters capped and this is Guardian thing coming out. It's been pretty lame because you're like, oh, I can just instantly create high quality. Like, this isn't what I wanted.
Hey,
And I want the 8 mount, but I want it to be
Who would've
exciting.
thought? Not me.
Expert recipes will trigger statuses other than poor, good, and excellent. Utilizing these new statuses will be the key to increasing item quality. Now that's exciting because that is not macroable. So taking advantage of statuses, if you guys aren't familiar with crafting, there's a status that tells you like good and excellent, and having things proc off of those, and then in making those procs required means that crafting is not as simple as just putting a macro in that you download from a website or you work out yourself. That's really cool. Kupo of Fortune. Receive scratch-off tickets for contributing a certain number of items.
It's so cool.
Nothing like a loot box.
Julian, if you can ping me on Discord, I will send you your new Finwear bike mount. Our link for Discord is in the description. Just hit that up and ping me in a DM, and I will send you your code. Yay!
Oh, that's cool. They're even going to have rankings to show who.
Oh, I love everything that has rankings.
That's neat.
Oh man, that's gonna keep me addicted. That's gonna keep me addicted. I love, like, Chris and I have talked about this multiple times. Like, just people are like, "Oh, I don't want PvP." I was like, "There's another form of PvP. It's leaderboards. Like, you don't have to actively be killing each other, but just let me I want to be the #1, carpenter in all of the server. Like, all right, let's do this thing."
Although one of the things that I was discussing with watching the Game Awards and people talking about competitive stuff was that I would love to see something from 14 be competitive. But what's funny is I think the devs are trying to like steer it so that it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it would be cool. And people were like, the only thing it could be is Feast. And I'm like, yeah, but I'd watch Feasts. I don't know if anybody else would, but I would.
So ranking, it's meant to be a reward for the players that contributed a lot to restoration. These are going to be separate between crafters and gatherers, and it's set at 10 days because they don't want to make it too long.
Look at us. Hey.
It's interesting that they didn't go with weekly.
Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
And it's meant to be for hardcores. He's putting special emphasis. So when people say this is too hard or I can't win, all of 5.1 was for you. This is for all the people who have said simply turning in 5,000 of an item is not hardcore enough for me.
This is actually cool though. Like, I like the leaderboards and making it so that it's not as macroable because people were really upset with the changes that there were to crafting initially, like the removal of abilities and such. So it's cool that they kind of did that, but now they're like, hey, now for all of you people that were complaining, we heard ya. Here you go.
They say the results of each world is going to be put on the lodestone. Put that in the game. We actually have.
That's the way Deep Dungeon works. It should be on the launcher.
It needs to not just
if it's
be
not in
game. That would be cool.
It needs to also be in game. We have it for free companies. We have it for grand companies. Like, they already have this stuff. It's just outside the game. So guess what? You don't really pay attention.
Brian and I play on Sargatanis.
Sargatanis.
I play on Siren.
Siren.
I'm excited that it's crafting PvP. It's straight up competitive crafting. For people who, at this point, they've already gotten bored with their Gil high score. They've crafted all the things. They've unlocked all their crafters, and they don't have an interest in anything else. Like, this is the kind of things that makes that sustainable.
I love seeing all these.
A new feature will be added to estimate the effects of your next action for this for crafting system updates.
Am I the only one that's looking at these screenshots and going, that better be in-game glamour?
I mean, the crafters have some pretty good glamour already.
They do. That just looks fantastic.
They've done a great
I want
job.
a skirt with like a freaking tool belt on it.
It will be easier to. It says desync stacked items. I assume that's desynth, and that's an autocorrect.
Yeah, I think it is supposed to be decent.
What's exciting about that is right now, like desynthing fish. So one of the issues with fish is that there are fish in the game that have no real use, either because they turn into an item that nobody uses, or they literally just are useless. And so when you're fishing, you generate all these fish that aren't worth anything, and they just sit on the market board and do nothing. And desynthing them is a bummer because you buy up 1,000 of them, and you've got to desynth 1,000 times. If they want to make desynth easier, just let me blast the whole stack down, and just say, hey, here's all your sand and your handful of crystals. Because then there's a price where it's worth it. I don't know how low that price has to get, but there's a price where I'd buy up a stack of fish with the purpose of just blasting it into the ground.
What do you guys feel about the company, no more free company crafting in that regards?
No more free company crafting?
Mm-hmm.
Like the airship stuff?
Meaning, like, it's no longer needing a party. Like, you can literally, they're talking about now, you can just do it solo.
I mean, I think it's nice to make it easier so that you can do it just like on your own schedule, but at the same time I don't like it because I feel like there should be things that you have to be in a group to do. or else it's not an FC thing.
This
Like, I
entire
think-
expansion's been about accessibility, so it's in
Yeah.
line with everything else.
I mean, it makes sense. I feel like there are some things that you should have to do in a group because it forces people to actually work together and communicate and actually have that community. And you don't want to lose that community thing. And I get that they can make up for it in other areas, but
An all-purpose lore added. Is that going to be hidden behind like a super crazy achievement? Like, because making bait useless should really be like something you earn.
and I'm going to call you Mr. Pooh from chat. Like, I get that it makes sense if people in the FC couldn't help, so it's supposed to make it easier. But I feel like maybe don't decrease it all the way to one person. Maybe have it so that you only need 2 people to work on it. So there's one partner that you could have in the FC rather than doing it all yourself.
Cool. Julian confirmed their identity.
Next,
Parties for
Sky
1%
Steel's
crafting and the
Sky
other
Steel
slash
tools.
Vanderbilt. I guess you're right. I didn't think about that, Draco. Is it Draco Swab or Draco Swab?
Your primary tool can be upgraded over the course of multiple patches. It's a relic weapon.
Relic
Oh my
crafting.
gosh. It's a relic.
Relic crafting.
Oh man, I just want to see what it's gonna look
Oh,
like.
I've been asking for this. They said they lost the stream?
Just
No?
briefly.
Just Chili? Oh.
Just briefly. I tossed it to so I could send the code because I was like worried that it'd pop up.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, and now I just showed everybody the code.
You can call it what you want. That's a relic. The quest begins in the firmament.
I love
And
that. I love
Crafter
that. I
Gunners.
love that. I love that. It's so awesome.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. They were saying that there was like too many different kinds of bait, so they were thinking about things like adding bait that can fish all kinds of fish, so you don't have to have bait for as specific
What?
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna add a catch-all lure, but I hope that's tied behind you have to do something to earn it. They're not just neutralizing the use of baits and lures.
Maybe it'll come with the relic.
I've made a lot of money selling bait over the years. But like that's not the unique thing. There's something interesting about having to go stock up on the right bait for the right area. There's something interesting about deciding to pay extra for the lure so that I don't have to carry bait when there's a lure and bait that'll both catch the same fish. There's an inventory management that takes place when you go out fishing.
What do you guys think about this? Materia system changes. Equipment will no longer be lost when creating materia. Crafter class requirements for affixing materia will be removed. Any crafter can affix materia provided that they meet the level requirement. What are they going to do with the equipment? Like, if you don't need it to
know.
create materia, like that was kind of the trade-off. Are they?
So-
you just going to break it down like natural?
That is odd. I don't understand.
So
how
you
that's
just
gonna...
reattune to it over and over, so it just generates materia like a farm? It just resets to 0, and then you just
Oh, fill it up again. You fill it up again.
fill it up again.
I guess
yeah,
that's kind of a Paragon level in a way that you can using XP.
Yeah, that
The
is what
question
they're
is,
saying.
what's the use of all that materia? Like, we already have enough materia in the game. Materia is not an outrageous price. There's a couple that sit high, but they don't sit like out of reach. So what justifies that?
I don't know. But if
You
nothing
add a
else, it
materia
just-
of
it
9
keeps
that can
XP
only be made
relevant.
by combining 8s, and then we need the price of 8s to plummet so that people can justify going and rouletting into 9s or however they want us to get there. If they want us to Mutamix them into 9s, that'd be ballsy. Gambling 8s would be so nerve-wracking at 20k a piece.
I like that. I mean, I like the fact that because that spirit bonding used to be kind of the Paragon system, because that was the only way to get materia. But now it's like that kind of brings it back. The question is that maybe it'll have a really big impact.
You
I
could weigh the
wonder-
value of the spirit bonding. Isn't there spirit bonding food?
Is there? Oh, there is food that does spirit bond you faster.
Yeah, but it's ARR stuff because it was back when we used to have to try to spirit bond things. So now all of a sudden those kind of items become valuable again because
What
depending on how-
What if they started to introduce like different types of materia that was like, oh, skill, like augmenting skills in other ways. Because right now, like if you go crit, direct, or what's up?
Yes, Fisher exclusive content.
Oh,
I'm so excited. Ocean fishing, board a ship at a specific time, right? Timed nodes.
That's cool.
And go enjoy fishing. Let's do some deep sea fishing.
Nice.
This was discussed extensively among the dev team. I would assume so. And you can receive experience and scripts based on fish caught.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'd be great if
about
there's
it.
a leaderboard tied to it.
At
One
least
of the
catch.
things is just like just toss it out there.
Can't log back in for 5 hours. My character died while fishing. To wait for them to fish him out.
The big haul buff seems pretty cool too. Like if
New
you meet
chance
certain
to big haul
requirements
by
while
medium
you're out there.
conditions. It's large scale. Is that a fishing raid? Fishing raids are in WoW now, and they're wonderful. And they were entirely an accident. In Lords of Draenor, the community made up a reason to do it, and then the devs were like, how do we encourage this?
Rank increase coming for free companies. About time. I wish they would just make it to where you rank up like and it just gets harder and harder and harder. So like if you're like an old free company, you're like, oh man, like you guys are rank, 100 or something like that.
Additional New Game Plus chapters. Cool. And we have new Allegan tomestones. Yep. I'm excited about the fishing thing. That is
that's cool.
Chris has been waiting
super
for this.
exciting. I capped my Fisher in under 2 hours. Like, guys, from the 70 to 80 jump is so fast.
They're saying they're gonna it's a minor thing, but they're gonna raise the FC level too, but they
Yeah.
don't know what
I'm
perks
excited
are
about that.
yet.
I wish they would just make it like uncapped, because there's really like just give us a level like that as we were all playing. It just levels up and it just gets harder and harder. So at the end of the day, like you would see like an FC that's like rank 50 or rank 60 or 70 or 100. You're like, oh my gosh, that's an active FC, because people continue to play. Keep XP relevant. Keep XP relevant.
See, I actually like that because I like the idea of everything you do actually contributing to it.
Yeah, everything. That's the thing about Ishgardian Restoration. It's communal.
New courses in Leap of Faith. They say devs are struggling over adding the umbrellas. Then why add them? Like, am I missing something?
I think they showed some of them where it was like an umbrella mount.
Because they're cool.
It's just like, well, guys, next expansion we're only adding one dungeon for the whole expansion. But I have great news. Everybody is going to be able to run around while jumping rope. It's like, nobody asked you to do that. It was really hard. I believe you. Nobody asked for that.
I like that idea, Sorrow. Umbrella to fight. Have it kind of be like the same V pose and B stance is like blue, and just fight with your umbrella.
There's a 15-second delay, Daylor.
Yeah, so there's that delay. So it's if there's
plus whatever delay and how slow we read. This is so ridiculous.
I just love him. I love how like every single dev looks like a freaking rock star.
Well, he is a rock star and a genius.
Well, I mean everybody though, like just like their style, their outfits, like the like jewelry that they wear. It's awesome.
Soken asked Foxclown, what the hell are you doing? And Yoshida said, same to you.
Hey, Dice. Yeah, he's dressed up as a sin eater.
I want that.
Can we get some? Can we get some M's in chat for Mary Poppins mount?
How do I get that Moogle thing for my... Is his Moogle wearing a suit too?
Yes. It's got at least a vest on it.
Okay, seriously,
His Moogle's wearing a suit while he's wearing a suit. They're saying that Amazon in Japan is short on personnel, so they're having some trouble delaying Eorzean Symphony stuff.
Get it together,
Here comes the Q&A.
Oh, they're not even taking like a little break.
Oh, I have such mixed feelings about Q&A.
Why? I feel like that's a load.
Oh, have you not seen any of our
Q&As? I want to take it back. No, this is the first thing this is the first time I'm ever.
Oh,
time.
Well, great news. None of these questions will be repeats to you until the next Q&A.
Well, this is for Soken, so like some of the questions in on the forums were literal like, why would you even ask Soken that? Like, it's like he has to...
What is favorite song from Shadowbringers? Tomorrow and Tomorrow, though it's a spoiler. He likes the vocal performance.
He said it made him cry when he composed it. I mean, of course it did, because it's beautiful, but still.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to think of him hearing the song coming out of nowhere, and then he's just crying, like, as it spills out of his head.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I think it's so hard probably for those kind of guys to actually retire, because it's like, it's in me. I
don't know how they stop hearing it.
Yeah.
They're hearing that music as they live their life.
Fortnite umbrellas. It's like, yeah.
I cannot believe that it did not even get nominated for Best Music.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
I understand that Best Music, it was like Best Music and Sound, and so you'd have to look at like the whole immersion of it, and so like not winning, I get it, but to not be nominated is just insulting.
I get that it can lose to Elysium, Disco Elysium. People are just like praising that.
Didn't Death Stranding win Best Music? Is that what it? Or Disco Elysium?
No, I'm talking about the RPG, because it was nominated for RPG. And Disco... Go ahead.
It was Best Music and Sound, and it was Call of Duty, and people were trying to explain that it was because you could hear like footsteps and guns sounded like the actual guns they were firing. But to me, when I think of it that way, I'm thinking more of like the actual emotion that a game would bring out, like an RPG. So it was even weird to me that they were even nominated for that category. Like, I get it to a certain extent, especially if people like that, but
yeah. And then it lost Best RPG, and it lost Community. I can concede due to like several factors, right? And I talked about that in my video today. But then to lose the best ongoing game to Fortnite.
So he was saying that he met the vocalist by coincidence at Dolby Theater, and that when the vocals were recorded in LA, the data was sent to Soken, and he mixed the vocal with the song, but that his staff had downloaded just the vocal file, and that was what had made them tear up.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh?
I like when people purposely spell Fortnite.
Yeah.
I just think it's so fantastic.
I like fork knife.
Yeah. People were like putting it in chat when we were watching the words together, and I was like, guys, you're spelling it wrong. I didn't get that they were doing it on purpose.
They said that their impression of the vocalist was strong and impactful, and they had made an arrangement just to see if he could grab the vocalist to sing. Which you hear that a lot, like around great songwriters, is that they'll write a song with this particular vocalist in mind, and then they just hope. Like one of the people that I like how at least humble they come across in interviews is like Ed Sheeran will talk about writing a song for somebody, and he's like, I just didn't know if they'd actually say yes. And it's like, of course they're going to say yes. Like at this point, Like maybe that was like years ago that was a reasonable thing, but he talks about now like, oh, I didn't think that. He's like, I didn't even think Rihanna would take my call, and it's like, really, like you're kind of a substantial sensation, at least in the Western world.
Did they ever say
I would
anything
think people will
like
take
that
your
about,
call.
like voice acting? Like, I wonder if they ever have a specific person in mind for like the actual voiceovers and kind of write things specifically for that person, other than
It's a
just music.
very tight knit community. I have a friend that lives on the East Coast that's a voice actor, and like it's a very tight knit community. It is all who you know and things like that. So it would not shock me if, as they create a character, if they already have a short list in mind.
Right.
And so as they're writing the dialogue, that would not shock me. 14 actually goes around the world to record theirs, so they don't make the voice actors don't come to them. They record, like they do a trip to LA, and then they go to Europe, and then they go over to Japan.
That's
Like,
why
I
we
can
don't
So
have.
the
That's
team
why we
has
don't
to
have
do all
more
that.
cutscenes that are voiced, just because the time constraints.
Right. So it takes months. So all those things have to be locked in. So if dialogue changes, they have to just cut that portion of the cutscene, and it has to go to text.
Chat's talking
They
about.
don't have the ability to go back around.
Chat's talking about the Muppets. Chat, did y'all see my reaction to the Muppets last night? I don't know if that's why you're talking about it.
That was pretty much the best part of the whole thing.
Did you see my reaction to it?
So the next question was, where do you get the inspiration to compose music? And the answer is mostly everywhere, and inspiration hits him all the time randomly. He also trains his music senses by singing or playing keyboard. He also randomly takes out smartphones to hum on it and record it so that his idea and inspiration won't run away.
Smart.
It's such a fantastic answer. And then just like, rather than just saying that inspiration is everywhere, delving that deep into it and really trying to explain it.
So Draco, I was speaking specifically on a panel they gave at PAX, and so they talked about how they started at LA, which is where there's a studio. So that's where a lot of, I think that's where I don't know if that's where the writing and like the localization team lives or what. And then they did say that yes, they go to England. And that is indeed why we have Game of Thrones actors. Europe's also a good place to base out of because don't they support voice in what all languages get voice? It's more than just English and Japanese.
I think French and German.
That sounds right. But yeah, he said it's a ton of work because they basically cover a whole loop around the globe.
Anyone you can call a teacher. My mom. Of course his mom was talented. And his dad.
Yeah.
Of course. I didn't know that much about Soken. I just knew about some stuff that people had linked me of, like the primals and watching him like make instruments out of random things and actually be able to play them.
So Chad, if you could only put in one job into the next expansion, what would that one job be?
So his father does things discreetly and doesn't usually teach him much about music.
Aww.
He's such a gift to the community. Like,
Seriously.
unbelievable.
I just love how much fun
Unbelievable.
they have. It's neat to just watch a bunch of artists from, you know, different professions just be able to just shoot the breeze, essentially. Like, I know that they're getting a lot of their questions from, you know, the forum that they opened up, but it's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just having them talk shop.
I would think we're getting Beastmaster or Puppet Master as our next limited.
I also expect that in
Blitzball
5.4.
player.
Blitzball would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to have that connected with Blitzball.
I could not believe they added swimming and Ruby C and didn't give us blitzball.
Look at us.
Yeah, just
Necromancer.
mechanically.
Look at us.
Oh,
Look at
or
us. Who would've thought?
Neuromancer.
Not
I'm
me.
sorry. I read that incorrectly.
Thanks for subscribing, Milhawk.
They said, what's your favorite recent musicians in music? And James Morrison, trumpet. This is not the Q&A that I thought we were getting. I didn't go see the questions beforehand, so I didn't know it was Soken.
I didn't either.
Well, some of the questions that the forums ask, it's like, yeah, I hope they don't ask that. That would be just a waste of his time. It's like why are they asking Soken about glamour? Like it's like, all right. I'd love to see a time.
As long as he's having fun, right?
How much do you think Soken spends playing the game? How much time?
I don't know. I know that Yoshi P wants his team playing the game, but I do not know.
But the cool thing is that they all actually do play.
My friends who made Borderlands 2, they never actually played it until a couple years ago. Meaning, because it's like they're always debugging and testing and doing like all the nuanced stuff that eventually that's like they couldn't go and just play the game because they were like, oh, I damn it, I needed to do that, or I wanted to make this change. Yeah, I wish Summoner kind of functioned a little bit more like it does in 11. I'd love to see them kind of remake it. And we got some of the work the game emotes. Yeah. Thanks, Ruby. Yeah, I don't think Blue will ever become a full job. It'll always trail, which is unfortunate.
Why is that? Like, why?
I think, and somebody said that, their systems or things they could do. They're just like concerned with like breaking the balance. Like White Wind, like you could literally just have a Blue Mage in there and heal everybody up to full with one spell, and it's like, okay, there are some things that it has that are powerful, and there are some things that are just like kind of weak. So I think the issue is matchmaking. Go ahead, Chris.
Tempest and Emero's music is very sad and melancholic, and I love it. Please describe your experience in working on the song. Do we know where the Roth Beast Tribe area is going to be? Like, do you know what zone that makes sense to fall in?
The what? The Roth Beast Tribe?
The Rothgar? Yeah.
When's that happening? They're going to
That's our next.
They're Corkin. They're gathering. They're the Corkins.
But where are they located?
Oh, somewhere.
Raktika.
Oh, Raktika?
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, they said they were going to be in Raktika.
Nice.
Okay. That's my favorite zone.
I just like Lahi.
Beautiful music. Beautiful way it plays with the light. It's awesome. It wasn't my favorite, initial impression, but it's I haven't gotten tired of it. It's just, I like it every time I end up there. The Tempest is a zone I wish I used more. I just don't feel that I have any reason to go there.
I know. I wish they added more to it. I know they have,
be a cool
that hunt
beast tribe
there. And I know that, you had to unlock the dungeons there. But I just wish... I feel like what we got from the MSQ and the Tempest is not enough. And it's such a beautiful area to not have more content there. And you're right, there's no reason to go there. So it's just
It'd be a cool beast tribe.
Yeah.
To go explore all that. Natsuko Ishikawa approached him for music for final area and dungeon. Soken's initial impression is that it's going to be upbeat and very tense and epic feel, but he was wrong, and Ishikawa wanted more quiet and serene type final area, hence the Tempest. He created one more version that is more upbeat and tense for the dungeon, and that's what we got for Emerald. It's just they just spent all that time building up this like surprise, like you come over that ridge and then it's like, whoa. And then all those side quests, you only get to do them once, and there's all these lore ramifications for them. And then that's it. And they introduce us to new characters there, and even these little new side characters that don't really matter, these kind of throwaways that we could very easily use for a beast tribe, in my opinion. And we could go kind of explore. I mean, it messes with time a little, but that's okay.
What's time anyway?
Yoshida then described the experience in Kalusha because he thought that the music doesn't fit the image that he wanted to present. But Ishikawa resisted the idea and stuck with it. It's interesting to hear them like talk about disagreeing with each other, and I think because compared to other games, we tend to just think like Final Fantasy is made by Yoshi P, like this one-man vision. As opposed to other games, you refer more to like a dev team. You know, you might know who the head of that team is, but like Yoshi P is very much treated like this rock star in our community. And it's interesting to anytime you hear like they disagreed with him and he's like, well, okay then.
That's great to hear, though, because I had read that one of the big issues with 1.0 was that people knew that stuff that they were working on wasn't what it needed to be, and just nobody communicated with other departments.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic that they actually do have that communication.
I mean, in theory, you hire the best and the brightest you can find. So to then trust them to only do what you tell them kind of like defeats the purpose of like hiring bright people.
It's not actually that. Like one of the things that 1.0's fallings are is that it was Square Enix's in Japanese culture really big reluctance in adopting HD development mindset with the 360 and the PS3 generation, and a lot of this actually ties into the engines and the documentation. So where the West was really diving into Unreal, the reason why Japanese culture has been so slow to adopt it was actually just a documentation thing. So it's really cool to see Square Enix games starting to come out on Unreal. And that's actually because documentation has improved. Yoshi P's real critical thing isn't just for 14 1.0 to 2.0. It's a cultural shift within Square Enix and how they run their business. Their business wasn't able to adapt to the agile methodology in which that they were able to go and rebuild 14, which is modern, more modern development practices. And that impact you'll see going forward. You somewhat felt it a little 15. I think 7 Remake is going to be the first real example of actually the change that Yoshi P impacted on the culture at Square Enix. Even though he doesn't have to be about that. And then as we go forward, I think we're about to see a whole new renaissance of Square Enix, like just quality JRPGs being turned out by the studios. Anyway, scene.
So he went on to say that after some discussion and compromise, he finally got it to the current setup where you get a certain song playing, and then after you clear a certain part of the MSQ, the song changes. It created some challenge to the programming, but that was the compromise between like how you would get an upbeat song when you pictured something more serene. And then the next question is, I like the songs that were played during Ultimate. The song used matched the situation and flowed with the battle well. Did you aim for this to begin with? Yoshi P's the eldest of the primals.
The most powerful. Dynamic, yes. I don't know when you were left or if you're just jumping in to see what the summary is, but you can actually rewind the stream. That's one of the cool things about YouTube. Otherwise, Chris or myself will be putting out a summary sometime. And it's usually one of these late ones, so it's like, hey guys, let me tell you about 5.2.
Gruff voice, poor lighting, limited editing. Like, this video is not nearly as
Pristine.
and it's like, well, you're catching the last 30 minutes of a 5-hour effort.
Yeah.
Some of these live letters seriously go like 3 hours.
That's what people were saying. And then when they said they were going to have like a 14-hour stream where everything was up, I was like...
So the 14 thing is they do that. That's an annual thing. This one's late.
Okay.
That's the anniversary.
And they usually
gotcha.
do the anniversary in August, but with the expansion and all that's going on, I got delayed. So Dynamic, here's kind of the big thing that I'm still processing. They have confirmed only one dungeon per patch going forward. They're saying they're going to use those resources to do something. They talked a little bit about Relic. It sounds like we're getting 2 trials. We're obviously getting Eden, so ultimately, we'll see.
One dungeon.
It really, like, that's the thing. Like, if everything that I'm trying not to like overread from like, an engineer who's like, I don't work for Square Enix, but programming has very similar threads, not all the time, but it's like, okay, I'm really interested in whatever Yoshi P's working on because it's not Final Fantasy XIV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as far as the ultimate song, this question was asked a lot. The music was already done way before the battle created. The data passed to the battle team, and then they made the test case working with the battle team. For example, this part, let's play the music on that part. So Soken and the battle team worked a lot more on arranging the flow of the songs for Ultimate Alexander. Fun fact, there are at least 3 datas included in the time stop music so that they can put several data and implement to the battle to see what's fitting. What does he mean? Like, there's...
I think he had a lot of different options, and then they kind of showed what the battle was going to be later, and they put the options that he had already come up with against it to see what would work the best.
Yes, Draco. That's what that means.
I also like that they asked, they said that one of his favorite bands was Rage Against the Machine, and does that influence him? And he's like, well, I wish I could have everything be metal, but unfortunately that wouldn't work for FF14. See, that's a man after my own heart. I'm really big on the metal. Like, when I first heard the new boss theme, I was like, oh my god, that is fantastic.
They're showing it still a secret, but they kind of started talking about the evolving overpatch gear. And then they talked about it from crafting perspective, which really got Chris excited.
I think that the crafting and gathering system being simplified is primed for a relic system to come in and really change it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we were like, what's the second half of that statement?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited about that.
Because if there's not a second half, then they ripped a lot of complexity out for no reason. But if you ripped out the bloat and you took a little complexity with it because you want to rebuild on that foundation with a whole new player base interested in it, then that makes sense. But the thought as it stands in 5.1, in my opinion, is just lacking the complexity that the hardcore crafters and gatherers deserve and had.
I love the debate we're having over metal in chat right now.
Yeah.
Nefesha, you should listen to Prague. Prague metal has a lot more melodical stuff to it, like Blind Guardian, Demons and Wizards. Sonata Arctica is very melodic. Just to throw a couple out there. Not that I'm a big nerd or anything, but... Judas Priest.
I haven't listened to Judas Priest in a long time.
Me either.
It was like, I hadn't listened, and I don't think they're metal, but I hadn't listened to Green Day for a long time until they were on the Game Awards. So I was like, oh.
Weird that they were on the awards. I was not expecting that.
What's
and then
gonna
the
be-
performance.
I think what's really going to be cool about next year is that with Cyberpunk 2077, they've grabbed a ton of artists, right? What the music that works for the Game Awards is when it's video game music performed. Like I've seen, like even Imagine Dragons was there in the past, so they've kind of like trickled it in. But I think that what I've enjoyed more than anything is the when it's the orchestra playing video game music and even rocking it out.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And not only the orchestra, but that when they actually have people come in and do the vocals, because sometimes they'll do, like the I can't think of the name that I'm talking about, but regardless, like they'll just have like all the orchestral versions. But when they actually have like somebody come out and do vocals for it, it just makes it that more like when they did One Winged Angel for Tour de Japan. It was fantastic. Fantastic.
No new trailer. We don't even have the patch art. It was just a
name.
basic. We just got a name.
Echoes of a Fallen Star, and it's supposed to start to connect in with the Echo. So there's maybe some story stuff that will be revealed about the Echo then.
So is it crafter relics or has something else been said about it? So basically, they didn't say relic. They said there's a crafter weapon that will be upgradable over multiple patches, which to me says relic. Now it might feel different. I mean, the relic system has felt different from one expansion to the next. But something where you unlock a tool through a quest in the firmament, which is what they've said, and then over future patches, we're going to make that a better and better tool instead of replacing it, which is the unique aspect of relic weapons.
And yes, whoever said Amon Amarth, was it Amon Amarth that actually did the full album with the orchestra? I couldn't, because they're like, some of their stuff is symphonic black metal, right?
Can we have class mounts like WoW? What we do for tanks?
Oh,
And they were
that's
asked why they don't do it for healers, and that's because they said if they do it for healers, then DPS are going to want one.
If you give a mouse a cookie.
And to be honest, I actually like the idea of having it for tanks, because sometimes they can be so hard to come by.
I haven't seen tanks in need. I've seen
Not
it
now, 'cause
I've been
I'm-
seeing as healers in need.
It's
in need.
whatever class is not allowed to wreck the DPS charts. So when they made tanks into melee DPS